Well, hello everyone. I got a little low on my camera there. Let me raise that up just a bit. Welcome, one and all, to this Monday night, July 20th, the anniversary of one of the biggest lies we've ever been told as a society. It's the anniversary of Neil Armstrong's first man on the moon, of course, with the exception of the lighting department and the photographer that were there ahead of him. Yeah, how was that video taken of him stepping off the lunar lander, as if that thing could ever land and not have dust in it from landing and be sparkly clean and looks like it. I mean, folks, a couple years ago, when I was new to Austin, I was invited to a Halloween party. Didn't really have a costume in mind, so I just covered my hat in tinfoil and went as a tinfoil conspiracy theorist. And I made the best friends in that situation. And because you get to know somebody pretty quickly when you realize that they're awake, right? So this and the lunar lander looked worse than my hat. Okay, so so welcome one and all. I am David Snedeker. This is the Indoctrination, and we expose the indoctrination for all to see and peel back the curtain of the lies that we have been told. And my friends, when you think about the extent that they went to with that lie, hiring Stanley Kubrick, who was doing 2001: A Space Odyssey, having a sound set, having people that were sworn to secrecy, creating this image and then pretending like the president can, talk to them over the phone back in the day. And so this is something that should kind of it could be a real catalyst for conversation about other things that we've been lied to about that really haven't taken as much effort as they expended on that fake moon landing. So wonderful to see so many beautiful people, certainly all of you here in the chat who are absolutely awake, changing your lives for the better. And just I'm honored to be before you right now and to have you put your trust and faith in the things that I say and the things that I share on this show. And I'm just very humbled and very feeling a lot of gratitude for this group of people that have become, family, friends, trusted associates, trusted people that we can talk to. I'm humbled by the things that I've brought you and how you've embraced them. Most recently, the Oli Life foot plate and attachments and belt that is really, I'm telling you, folks, I've just beat the crap out of my body. I used to jump very high, land very poorly. An assistant coach told me one time, I love your game, but you play with no respect for your body. And at 61 years of age, my body feels like that, quite often. But the things that I do, this fast that I did, I'm now on keto. My energy, by the way, was pretty down because I got off coffee a week ago Saturday, and that first week off coffee, ooh, that's a tough one. But I'm feeling like I'm getting my energy back. I'm feeling very clear headed after a 6 day water fast. I've dropped 21 pounds. Um, I'm exercising, I'm lifting. The only reason I haven't dropped more weight is because I'm gaining weight and muscle. And just, I feel, probably, and I'm doing my Oli Life plate 2 times a day, and I'm doing the belt 2 times a day. And this is the belt. That's amazing. So I'm losing fat around my midsection. Um, my back feels great. That was always an issue back in the day when I played. I had two career-ending back injuries in college while I was at on my way to Providence and while I was at Providence, and I couldn't even go professional until 4 years after I graduated. 4 years after I got halfway through my master's, but 4 years after my eligibility was up, and so so I've had body issues, health issues my whole life, and if this device can help me, I'm telling you, it can help you with whatever you're experiencing, and I highly recommend it. And I recommend you just go onto the website and fill out your information. I keep things very private, just like Snedheads. Nobody has access to that information. Nobody, that's just me. This information is shared by me and Nancy and Wayne, and it's only for the purpose of connecting with you and sharing these testimonials that are just, I mean, relentless testimonials on this thing from people. Dementia, um, what's the leg thing, neuropathy that people just have not been able to figure out, are actually seeing relief with this device. So at any rate, I just got to say, I wasn't even planning on jumping into that right off the bat. The only reason I did is because I'm in gratitude for you all that have embraced the Healy. I still use the Healy because I can take the Healy with me. That's just an amazing device as well. Many of you got involved in 7K. That is like no longer in terms of like a company, but I know that through that process, a lot of my audience was educated about the value of gold, the value of silver, and we've seen how important that is over the past 6 months, certainly, if not past couple years. So I'm just in gratitude to you all for embracing that, for supporting this show through your donations. I don't have Zelle working yet, but I want to thank Jan for working to get me back on that. And so I can't share the Zelle link right now unless they automatically did it. I just didn't have time to call them today to see if they did. But I'll be able to tell you in a second if indeed they lifted my suspension from Zelle. And yes, so they have not yet. So Zelle isn't yet an option, but also I welcome you to try the Stripe link, which will be in your chat. And so thank you for all of you who have donated to me and to keep this show going. And I'm just really feeling a lot of gratitude tonight. And so thank you. And thank you to Helen Overton, who's just been an incredible support of me and this show. And the one of the main reasons why you still see me, going and kicking is, because of people like her and people like you who just take the time to stop and say, you know what, I'm gonna send Dave a few bucks, and because he's a fighter, he's a patriot, he's been with us for 8 years now, trying to really excuse me, make sure that we um, get the real information, the most important information, especially the information that 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 brings us hope, right? That really brings us. Hold on one second. I don't know why that popped back up here. Let me get rid of that. Sorry for that. So and that's where we're at. And look where we're at now, my friends. Look at where we're at now. The comms, the confirmations of Q, the confirmations that not just Q. Like to me, it doesn't matter to me that that I've been vindicated for my undying support of President Trump and the Q operation. What matters to me is the fact that Q told us that these things were going to happen. And all along, I've been telling you that these things are going to happen. We're going to get to the bottom of the elections. We're going to get to the bottom of the infiltration of our government. Yeah, it's still not working, but thank you, Whippins, for trying Zell. I'm hoping on the next show, and I'm probably going to do a show either tomorrow or Wednesday. I'm going to try to get 3 in this week. I've been getting 2 in a week with Sir Oliver. Feeling a little naked, by the way, without Sir Oliver here, because we did like 4 shows in a row, I think, 4 or 5, and just amazing, amazing. Obviously, this is a patriot that is just, has become a dear friend, not just to me, but of this audience here, and a real like thinker. Like he finds the truth amidst the lies. He finds the calms amidst the noise, and that's what I aspire to do. And he does it so well. And so I'm always grateful when he joins us. And so, yeah, so so at any rate, we'll do it again. Like I'm addicted to Sir Oliver. No, I'm kidding. But it's just that we've had so much to talk about, and we've been so excited. And so the excitement is that this plan that I've been telling you about for many years is real, and we really are, taking it to the satanic cabal. We really are getting our country back. We are slowly but surely. We got a long way to go. Don't get me wrong. I was just went to lunch with a friend today, and he has turned a corner on Trump. He was, very liberal, very mainstream media, and thought that Biden was just a complete joke, and is really happy with Trump. But he said, I wish that he'd do more for Americans, like America in general. And I said, yeah, I feel you. I said, there's a lot of people that are still struggling quite a bit in this country. You and I, like I, I'm figuring stuff out as we go. Like I am not flying high financially by any stretch of the imagination. And so I feel the price of gas. I feel the price of groceries. I feel the abusive taxation. Um, I feel the frustration of allowing so many foreigners into our country, not in a good way. Like I've had friends over the years, my friends who weren't born here, uh, immigrated here. I went to my friend who came from Ireland. I went to his ceremony of his citizenship. That was very, very special during President Trump's first term. And so I get that. Like, I want that. I want good people like that. It would be a shame if that man did not become a citizen in this country because he is a good man. He's got two children. He's just an upright human being and beautiful wife, dear friends of ours. And it would be a shame if a man like him did not become a U.S. citizen. It would be a loss for this country. But that's why they go through the hoops. That's why they have to go through certain things to become a U.S. citizen. And if you just give it all away, there's no value in something you give away. So you're taking the value of being a true US citizen away from the equation. And when in actuality, because of the way that they're coming in and they're tapping into all of our services, um, these aren't the best and the brightest. These are the ones that want the handouts. And that is no way to build a really strong, beautiful country. And this World Cup, watched the game yesterday with my sister and family, and it was a boring game. I'm used to basketball, 120 to 115, right? we got we got 1-0, right? Um, but I just appreciated the athleticism. I appreciated the endurance that these athletes have. As a former pro athlete myself, I just nothing but props to all those who were out on that pitch, and and the coaches and what it took to get there, like the countless hours that it took to get to that level of perfection, that level of athleticism. Been there, done that, and it's involved. It's lengthy. By the way, I don't know how well you can hear Mister Jasper working on his bone back here, but let me see if I can. I got the mic background. Okay, I got that down. Oh, what happened with my mic? I lost my good mic. Notice the difference between what I was just saying and what I'm saying now. And notice the difference in the warmth and the quality. And I think you'll enjoy this much more. Pilot Mike says it's crunch time. Yeah. Um, yeah, I sometimes thank you, Edward. Yeah, sometimes I like to put the chat on the screen. Um, Kathleen DeFabio, I'm addicted to you in the show, Dave. You've been spot on about everything. Thank you. You know what? I think I'm going to leave that up for the whole show. All right, unless somebody comes up with something better, I'm leaving that up. So yeah. So at any rate, but my friends, this is such a really a beautiful time in human history, and I've said this many times, and I hope it doesn't get old for you to hear, but you know people are going to look back I mean, let's go 20 years down the road, 30, 50 years down the road. People are going to look back at this time in human history and say that's when humanity broke free from their enslavement. And that's all I've been about. That's all I've cared about. The indoctrination, exposing the indoctrination that we have been subject to as a species and how we have been controlled every step of the way through medication nation, through vaccination nation, through education nation, through incarceration, all the areas of immigration nation. I mean, it has just been one thing after another. And when you can't turn around without running into the indoctrination, you take that as fact. Like you take that as like, okay, I guess this is the way it is. I guess this is the truth, right? Oh, I guess we landed on the moon. Wow. Yeah, but then we forgot how to go back, or we lost that technology. Somehow we made it through the Van Allen belt. Somehow we broke through the firmament. Oh, that's all flat Earth. That's all conspiracy. Well, when you realize that they lied to us about the moon landing, um, maybe we start thinking about the other areas of the where we are and why we're here. And I think honestly, that's why we're here, is to figure out where we are, what this is all about, who came before us. What's really, what is this real world really? Who created it? I think that's what we're here to figure out. But we can't figure it out when every time we turn around, we're bumping into, you know, brainwashing, indoctrination, media, movies, television shows. We used to think that they were making television shows about the real world. Little did we know back then that they were making television shows in order to deceive us even further. So here we are, right? Here we are at a time when people are going to be reading about this time in human history for generations to come, and you and I get to play a role in that. You and I get to be a part of that just by sharing information, just by telling people what we found out and how we'd like to share that with them, and maybe they would want to find out the truth as well. Supporting a show like this is a part of the revolution that you are a part of. um, it's just we're going places, folks, and they're really good places. We are changing the world. Craig, P90 Plus arrived today. Thank you, Dave. Craig, you're welcome. Thank you for your trust and your support of this show, my friend. And I am so excited for you to just dive into that, man. I'm telling you, it's amazing. It's amazing. So, yep, yep. The moon is local, and the firmament is above it. And yeah, just read Genesis, folks. Just read Genesis. Who came before us? Yeah, I mean the Tartarians, right? The Tartarian Empire, like that's opening up a whole can of worms. Like I'm really excited about what's coming out there. Yeah. So yeah, if the sun is millions of miles away in space, why is it black and cold there, but bright and hot on Earth? Duh, right? Great question. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. So, why should we believe it? And I've said this before. and I'll say it again, the reason for the lie is one, if you realize that the what do you call it? The earth is round and spinning and hurtling through space, and that we are here because of an accident in space, an explosion in space, a billion years ago. That that weakens us as humanity. It's almost like saying, you're unwanted. You're just a happenstance. You came from apes. You came from primordial ooze, something that crawled out of the primordial ooze. You just it feels weaker. But when you realize that we have a dome above us, and Antarctica is the wall that holds the water in, and the map of the Gleason map, the UN map, the atmospheric map, all the like oceanographic maps, when you realize that all those maps are top down looks at our earth, and when you realize that the stars are the same every day, changing throughout the seasons, shifting throughout the seasons, but they're the same and they have been for thousands of years, then you realize that this space was created for you and me. Like, we're here, we're very special like that. And you were created by a loving God that has a purpose for you here on earth. And by the way, what better purpose than disconnecting and destroying the satanic cabal that doesn't worship the God that we worship, but rather worships Satan. The satanic, the black cube, and all that. I mean, it's so deep. And so when you realize that this is that some being created all this, or beings created all of this, and I'm looking out the window, I'm looking at trees, I'm looking at grass, I'm looking at bushes, I'm looking at the sky and the clouds. And when you realize that this is a very special place, then you feel like, wow, I'm really a part of something really special. And I was brought here for a reason. That elevates us. But they don't want humanity elevated. So they lie to us. Darwin, Sagan, Freud, all these people about our psyche and about our surroundings, and the place where we are now, Roddenberry and those TV shows, and Lucas with Star Trek, Star Wars, and all these things. They're all a lie. It's all a lie. And then you realize that we don't see the world spinning. We don't see different stars every single day, which we would if we were hurtling through space, at least, the next year after we've hurtled through space for, millions of miles, we would see different star formations, but we don't see that. So they've taken our sight and they've made us question what we see. We don't hear us spinning and moving and hurtling through space. We don't hear anything. So they take our hearing away from us, teach us to not trust that, not trust our eyes, not trust our ears. And then the feel. I mean, you and I could be on a cruise ship, the biggest cruise ship in the world. We would know if we're moving or not. We certainly do in a car. People get car sick, seasick, the whole bit. They know when they're moving. We know when we're moving. So why don't we know we're moving when we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, hurtling through space? So they take those three senses away to get us to not trust those three senses. And by doing that, They now can put in whatever they want because we no longer trust those. So now they put in things that they support with CGI and fake stories and movies and television and make us, believe what they want us to believe. And it's the greatest lie ever told. The that we landed on the moon and that the earth is spinning, a huge ball spinning through space. And so I want you to think about those things, not necessarily, believe what I'm saying about the flat earth, but just ask yourself about if they really wanted to control humanity, then they would get us to no longer trust ourselves. That's what they've done with medicine. How many people didn't trust their bodies to fight off whatever COVID would come down the pike? So, you know what? You need doctors, you need vaccines, you need medication, you need to lock down, you need to wear a mask, you need to keep 6 feet away from your brethren. How many people believe that? Okay, so it's so huge. It's so important. Um, so welcome one and all. That's my little dollar bill says Mitch McConnell and I are going on a cruise next weekend. Thank you. Yeah. Um, let's see. Very cool. Um, let's see. Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah. Hey, we have God within us. I mean, just like I have my father in me, I have my mother in me. We each have God in us. Like, yeah. And they have completely lied to us about our true potential as living beings. And we can create. We can create. So all right, my friends. Love the chat. Some great comments. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, appreciate y'all. This is great stuff. Um, and yeah, Sandy, thank you. My Zelle is, I was suspended from Zelle, and I'm hoping to have it back up by the next show. So I'm sorry that I don't have that up, but the way that you can donate with a credit card, you can donate with I think Cash App, you can donate with maybe even PayPal. I'm not sure, but it's about transferring it into money that would actually come to me through my bank. So you can do this, and we've dropped that in the chat as well. So you can actually just click the link there, and that'll take you there. Now, they do take it cost me 35 cents every transaction plus 1.9%. So if you want to hold off on till Zelle the next show, that's fine because Zelle doesn't take any money out. And so I thank you for those of you that want to get me all of the money you're sending versus just a percent, but it'll do for now, and I've just had to come to deal with that, right? All right, my friends. There are some things I want to share with you now. First of all, I want to say that first of all, cheers to you all. Okay, got a little electrolyte water going tonight. Mm, that's yummy. Got a little something going on up here with my hair. And thank you, Jingle, and thank you all who are sharing this out. I really appreciate that. So, um, so let's talk for a moment about the speech last week, right? So, wow, President Trump 26-minute speech. It was great to share it with many of you, watch it with you, and then have Oliver on for a great conversation after. And of course, we went right into the comms. One of the things that I wanted to say is that one of President Trump's posts took us to took us to let me show you the post that it took us to. And then he took us there again today. And this is a Q drop. Let me just pull up this. Let me just find this here. Okay. And it was this one. He took us there Friday, and he took us there today. And let me share this with you. This is okay. Let's see. I think it's this one. Yes. Okay. So President Trump, first of all, let me just say quick shout out to Spiritual Street Fighter, another beautiful meme artwork that she put together, and also and there's her name. And so please give Spiritual Street Fighter a follow either on Truth Social and also on X. She's easy to find. She's the one that's been retruthed by President Trump 47 times. Nice little number there, with POTUS being 47. So thank you, Spiritual Street Fighter, for all your beautiful work and just being such an incredible patriot as well. Let me just, I hate to not do her artwork justice by blocking it. So let me take that off here. Now, Nancy Pelosi on, by the way, what you're seeing on your screen here is Shenzhen, China. Okay. And Nancy Pelosi on July 16th, she posted, obviously, Donald Trump is a loser, right? And that took us to this. And this is Shenzhen, China. So literally, okay, now Pelosi and team, they know about Q, okay? They know about the timestamps. They know about the Q drops. And here Pelosi, after the speech, she said, obviously, Donald Trump is a loser, right? Okay. Now, 3.7 million views on this, right? Okay. You go down through the comments. Let's just start with this one. And somebody said, "Girl, is this you?"
We have responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean, the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient
That
resources.
is not a question of how they had, but they don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more. We have responsibility, Terry. We did not have.
So I take responsibility, is what she said, right? Okay. So very interesting. So at any rate, you can just imagine what kind of responses Nancy Pelosi's getting. Aren't you up past your bedtime? When he died, Lindsay's net worth was 1.4 million. He made 174,000 as a senator and easily could have grifted tens of millions off defense contracts, but he never selfishly abused the system. Rest in peace, Patriots. She's made hundreds of millions of dollars. Ripcord, to all the haters and losers, never forget Trump won 2020. Sorry about your TDS. Get well soon. So it's the hammer time gift, right? Because of her husband and his gay lover. Pepe Deluxe, Dear Nancy, the only thing obvious here is that you've been in on every grift in DC for 40 years. Your insider trading portfolio called and once it's obviously back. Trump's still standing. Gunther Eagleman, obviously you're a drunk who staged J6 to cover up the stolen 2020 election. The rubber duck. It's just it just goes on and on and on, and it's just priceless. But her timestamp, my friends, went to Shenzhen, China. Drop 11:58. Okay. Why on earth would her staff allow her to send a tweet or have whoever did it post to China, who was absolutely all over the stolen election? Well, here's the thing. She didn't. Okay. This is a white hat play. She's been under control. Don't forget, folks, and I've been saying this a lot recently. Excuse me. Cheers. By the way, I've got my seat vibrator on. It's a little pad that Kevin Rotello and his lovely wife sent to me, Najwan, and so thank you both for that, because I'm stimulated, I'm fired up, and I've got uh, normally I drink out of mugs that you send me. I've got stuff on the wall that you all sent me. I've got yes, and I don't know where my cheese head is, Mr. Nelson. So please forgive me. But I got a lot of boxes in the that have to be unpacked again when I move into my new house, which is coming up in hopefully a couple weeks. I've been in this temporary place for quite a while, but I'm renting a new place, and it's beautiful, and it's still on 17 beautiful acres. Jasper loves it here. I love it here. I mean, with all the things that I expose myself to so that I can be well informed for you. And I know you all do that as well. I mean, it's a part of, this revolution, because it is an information war. But you know how it feels. It takes a toll, right? And when I'm doing many hours a week of shows, I got to take in a lot of information. And it's nice to unplug, take a walk through the woods, take a walk on my drive. It's just fabulous here, and I'm so grateful to be here. So this is a white hat operation, taking us to Shenzhen, China with Nancy Pelosi's post is showing us China. And then President Trump just today took us to this post. Let me remove this one and bring that one. I think I might have even showed you that already. Yeah, President Trump took us to this one today, which is also China. Okay, so the truth about China is coming to fruition, right? It is without question the major player in our election steal that put Joe Biden. But Nancy Pelosi was at Joe Biden's inauguration. And if she was at that inauguration, then she knows that that inauguration did not take place on that day. She knows that that inauguration did not happen on January 20th. And she was behind the J6. So she was a part of it. So these governments, these documents, I've been through quite a bit of them, and the mostly redacted, but we have to remember that it's not redacted for the FBI. It's not redacted for the DOJ. It's not redacted for the CIA. It's not redacted for President Trump and his cabinet. Okay. It's redacted for you and I. And so that's changing. Like we're going to find out all the who's behind all those redactions, like who's in those redactions, right? So amazing what's taking place right now. Iran, Russia, China, and other nations. Okay, and I'm gonna go to the other nations. Okay, in a moment, but when he says other nations, he doesn't mention Israel by name, but he led us with his posts after the speech. He led us to drop 916, right? And what's drop 916? And by the way, if you were here for that show, my apologies for repeating myself, but President Trump repeats himself quite a bit too. Why does he repeat himself? Well, because he understands the importance of repeating yourself, because the mainstream media repeats itself. But President Trump took us to 916. March 10th, 2018, whatever happened to this Pakistani guy who worked with the DNC? A grand jury in August returned an indictment in U.S. District Court charging Awan and his wife, Hina Alvi, with a total of 4 counts, which included federal bank fraud and conspiracy. Awan has pleaded not guilty to all charges, obviously. Whatever happened to them, Trump continued, with the 2 servers that they broke up into a million pieces? Whatever happened to them? Remember, Q has it all. Q has said this. Q is Admiral Rogers and the NSA. So they have all this documentation. We don't care that they got rid of these servers, because Q already had it. And then this isn't from an anon. What about Awan? Is Israel involved? And now Sir Oliver Pollock said that this was Liz Crokin who did this reply or asked this question. Q came back with, "We are saving Israel for last." Very specific reason, not mentioned a single time. Well, President Trump hasn't mentioned it a single time either, has he? Until today. I mean, he's mentioned Israel, certainly. But very interesting post from President Trump today. Let me read it to you and show it to you. Here we go. President Trump at 11:50 a.m., 12:50 p.m. today, Eastern time. I'm Central. That's why it always comes up an hour after. Benjamin Netanyahu will not be arrested in any way, shape, or form while in the United States of America. He is fighting against the Islamic Republic of Iran, which recently killed 52,000 innocent protesters and has spent the last 47 years killing American soldiers and others. Now, when I first read that, it read like he, Netanyahu, is fighting against Iran, which recently killed 52,000 protesters and has spent I'm saying I'm looking at this as he has spent the last 47 years killing American soldiers and others. USS Liberty, um, many moments of where they've harmed U.S. soldiers, not just in USS Liberty, but through intelligence, through assassinations, through many other things as well. The only ones that should be arrested are the people that led Iran into this unprecedented spiral of death and destruction. Well, we found out that the present Ayatollah is Mossad. So he was a part of leading Iran into this unprecedented spiral of death and destruction. I tell you what, when you have control over your enemy, you can keep that entity an enemy for a very long time and keep destabilization in the Middle East. And now we have the most stable Middle East, with the exception of the ongoing bombing of Iran because they refused to negotiate. So continuing, something that should have been dealt with years ago by previous presidents, President Donald J. Trump, right? Now, so I went to this post 11:50, and I'm going to take you to it with me. Let me pull this up for you. Okay. I'm sorry, 12:50, right? Okay. So let me share this and make sure that you've got it up in front of you. Yes, you do. Okay. And let me go into the drop, 12:50. Okay. From April 23rd, 2018, Red Cross Iran, Red Cross Pakistan, Red Cross North Korea, Red Cross dot 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 dot. I don't know, maybe other countries like Israel, right? Define smuggle. What is smuggled? What funds are used to pay for the goods? These people are sick, relevant to events about to unfold, follow the executive orders. And then it goes into, when was Osama bin Laden killed in Pakistan? May 2nd, 2011. Where was he located? Close proximity to? Think logically. When did Iran's mission op go green? 2004? Follow the timeline. What happened during this time with Huma, Valerie Jarrett, and Awan? Now, why does +3, by the way, 3 others? One of them, I believe, is John Brennan, by the way. But these are all Muslim Brotherhood. Okay. Follow the timeline. Secretary of State, who is protected. Okay. And then Poverty Matters, U.S. aid to Pakistan. So we were sending a lot of money to Pakistan as well, that was ending up going against us. And that's what we're finding with all of this fraud. J.D. Vance is in charge of the fraud department, and they are uncovering all these NGOs and all of our tax money that has been sent to countries that were a part of our demise. We were funding our own demise as a country and as U.S. citizens. We didn't know it. Now we're finding out about it, right? Aid cut off in 2010. Coincidence? What happened in 2011? Define exchange. Sick yet? Q. President Trump took us to this today with his timestamp of that really kind of out of the blue comment about Netanyahu. Now, the other thing was, President Trump wouldn't meet with Netanyahu on this trip. Okay. I think he canceled the trip. Now I think he's going to New York, and which is very interesting. Okay, because what's in New York, but another Muslim. All right, that let me see if I can pull that up for you here. Here we go. Bookmarks. Let me take you to um okay. Going through a few different things. Sorry, the audio is right on going off right away. But here we go. Let me see. I had that pulled up and here bear with me, folks. I've got so much pulled up to share with you that I totally lost one of the things that I wanted to share here, and I may not have properly done that. Okay. Um, well, let me first take you to Cag Drago.
They control both
Okay.
members of the House and the Senate. They have us
Let me see
involved
if
in
I
wars
can.
of which we have little or no interest. Our children.
Hold on. Here we go. Sorry about the audio. So this is it. He says Netanyahu was the first foreign head of state to congratulate Biden on the stolen election. Remember that? The vice president of Smartmatic Global Services was a dual citizen of Israel. Okay. And
They control both members of the House and the Senate. They have us involved in wars of which we have little or no interest. Our children are coming back and.
sorry that we're getting this audio. I don't know how to shut that down. Here, let's see if I can do it this way. Yeah. I don't know why that's all popping up. But at any rate,
This World Cup has given us everything. A Ghanaian witch
getting a
doctor
lot of comments.
At least listen,
The
people.
U.S. Army had a plan to bore
bewitching strikers.
All right.
a tunnel into the wall, but they didn't have a boring machine that could handle the super cold temperatures.
Okay. I did not want that either. All right. My apologies. My computer is acting quite odd. It's not allowing me to search these things without getting all this audio. But we are, this is really powerful stuff that we're being led to. Let me see if I can do this another way for you. And here we go. Let's see. Okay. So I reposted the following, staying on the Netanyahu thread that I've done here. Okay. I said more to come regarding election interference. POTUS took us to drop 9/16 Thursday night, saving blank for last. And Ripcord said our greatest ally can no longer get a meeting with POTUS. Right. And this was a while ago. Didn't even shake his hand. Remember that? That was back a while ago. And so so this is all coming out, right? This is all this can't be hidden anymore because they were a part of the steal. All right. They were part of making that happen. Okay. And that's something that we must keep in mind. And not only um, Israel, but like I said, China and Nancy Pelosi took us to China. And this is from MJ Truth Ultra. Um, this is a great little post where China is BLM, BLM is China. China, meaning Black Lives Matter, China planned to incite racial unrest and blame white people hating black people to sabotage Trump. How successful has that message of white people hating black people been delivered? Quite successfully to all of those in the mainstream media, certainly, not to you and I. We know it's a lie. We love our black brothers and sisters. They got some issues, all right? The black fatigue is real, but there are good people, every color, every race, good, hardworking family members and family leaders, fathers, mothers, sisters, brothers of the black race that has been used against the white population of this country when race was wasn't even an issue until Obama came around. I mean, it really we had crossed so many barriers. We had done so many wonderful things as a country together. And then a half black man became the president of the United States. Um, that's a whole other story. But the fact of the matter is that we were making progress as a nation in race relations. I'm not going to say that racism ceased to exist, because it exists in the hearts of the racist people. But we were doing pretty good, and we're not doing well now. China had extensive plans to use influence in cyber operations to turn public opinion against the Trump administration. They specifically targeted racial tensions, planning to allege that white people hate black people, incite demonstrations and marches to highlight racial divides, increase conflict between police and anti-racism activists. That happened significantly. Create the impression that U.S. law enforcement resents the government and people of color. They succeeded at that, even though the statistics show something very different. Other themes included political party fights, Congress versus Trump conflicts, women's rights, and alleged U.S. war plans. China had the ability to spread these messages across social media, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and mainstream media using influencers. TikTok's a big one. One option included gathering dirt on senior U.S. officials. This document shows that China was actively planning to weaponize racial division to damage President Trump ahead of the 2020 election. And I'm going to share this. I already shared it. It's on my timeline. And then newly declassified documents show that China planned to stoke violent unrest and blame Trump's COVID response to swing the 2020 election. China had extensive plans to use influence in cyber operations. Okay. Now, if you were with me back in the day when before COVID, and I was telling you that China keeps pushing these negotiations about their trade imbalance, Trump trying to right that with balance, that China kept pushing. Like Donald Trump said, we need to get a trade agreement. And they said, hey, can we wait until the end of the summer? Then it was like, well, we've got a New Year celebration coming up. Can we wait till after that? And they finally signed the document December 14th, I believe. And then COVID hit. Nancy Pelosi delivered the impeachment hold on a second. My mic somehow got unplugged. Okay, we're back. Um, she rushed it through and then sat on it for 2 weeks. And then on the first COVID um, case in the United States, she walked them over to the Senate, the impeachment uh, that the Senate now had to vote on, the impeachment of Donald Trump. And that was the trigger. And I told you at the time that was the trigger, because China, if they went through with the trade agreement that was signed in December, just a month prior, they would have been bankrupt. And as it stands now, China is struggling. China is struggling with this new, with the new tariffs that President Trump has imposed upon them, and the new trade agreement, and all looks good with his relationship with Xi. But also, we got to remember that China has a deep state as well as we do. Only theirs is the CCP, and so everybody has capitulated at this point. Okay, that is why President Trump, anything he does, anything he says, happens and is absolutely carried out. And that's a wonderful thing for us because of our trust in him, and because of how he earned that trust. He earned that trust by making sure that he's doing all the things that he said he was going to do. Right now, here we go. Oh, here it is. Okay, so this is I'll share that later. But it was OG and it was crazy theory time. And I talked about this when Mandami. Remember when Mandami met with President Trump in the Oval Office, right? And he says, before you all start freaking out, see below, or Mandami is a stealth bomber and secretly a white hat. Either way, let it simmer. Now, one of the things I said when they met was that very joyous interaction that they had, that it was not real. It was for the cameras. And that I felt at the time that Mandami was also, they knew everything about him. They knew his ties to Epstein. They knew his ties to Muslim Brotherhood. They knew his intentions. By that, I mean the Q team. And so they brought him in and they told him what was up. And they said, and President Trump said, he'll be the greatest thing for the Republicans that ever came along. And sure enough, his attempt to bring socialism to very likely the most capitalist city in the world, New York City, where the NASDAQ is the New York Stock Exchange, although they're looking to leave and come to Texas because of the policies in New York. But with the World Trade Centers, the Empire State Building, the massive wealth that runs through Manhattan, and we talked about at the time that he was going to do his role, carry out his role, which was going to make people run to MAGA, President Trump, America first, capitalism, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right now, and he's going off of this comment by Benjamin Netanyahu, and his theory is that this was put together intentionally. Okay, and he says, wouldn't it be something if he actually does get the NYPD to arrest Netanyahu, and before Trump can intervene, he's spirited off to International Criminal Court, kind of like we saved Israel for last, or like the final act, right? Which, by the way, was another post that he feels was legitimate at the time. This is OG Anon. I recommend we follow each other. I recommend you give him a follow, as well as MJ Truth Ultra on X, or also find them on Truth if that's your preferred platform. And of course, I repost a lot of their stuff, which you'll be able to see on Snedheads as well. So if you join us over on Snedheads, you'll see Dave's X feed. So you'll see all the stuff that I'm sharing there, right? Okay. And for example, I reposted Juanita Broderick just now, President Trump on climate fraud, right? And I'll take you to that post separately, but you can see it here. And if I take you there, if I click on it, we can see it. And this is something that's really important as well. The National Academy of Sciences has historically published analytical scientific manuals expressly for our federal judiciary. Of course, the Academy has been run by radical left Democrats who, Democrats, it turns out, publish fraudulent, biased, and misleading manuals on climate change. These bogus manuals were used by judges to decide massive climate change cases and have created huge losses across our country. These manuals have been totally discredited. Okay. President Trump doesn't say anything lightly. Our nation's federal judges deserve facts and science, not political fraud and false science on climate. With this truth, I hereby order federal suspension and debarment officials to review this conduct. So he's, remember, we have been seeing the exposure of the executive branch with the auto pen, Joe Biden, with Obama, right? And with previous administrations. So we're showing the corruption that occurred in the executive branch. Now we're also seeing the legislative branch. We're seeing Republicans that we thought were on our side that turned out to be rhinos, Republican in name only. And they, they did, they haven't passed the SAVE Act, right? They have been pretty much worthless. They've had a majority. They could have done a lot of great things, but President Trump is pretty much on his own, right? And even Republicans like Rand Paul and Thomas Massie, voted against the president on many things. So this is showing this is the exposure of the corrupt legislature. We've also seen going on with the legislature, speaking of Nancy Pelosi, the insider trading that they're doing, and they're making millions off these trades with information that you and I don't have, right? We're also seeing the book deals of both the executive and legislative branch when they get out of office. They're given these huge multi-million-dollar book deals when nobody wants to read their shit. But it's these publishing houses, which are controlled, by the way, most of the time by, the deep state, and certainly a lot of ties to Zionists, right? So, and then there's the judiciary. And we've been exposed to the judiciary corruption with the FISA warrants, okay? And those were all judges, federal judges, under the control of Justice Roberts, which President Trump said that they're compromised, that he is compromised. And he was also the one who swore in Joe Biden. So he was there, and he knows that wasn't shot on the 20th, right? So this is the exposure of the judiciary to the point where President Trump is asking, okay, the debarment officials so he's talking about debarring these federal judges. That's huge. That's huge. And if they review this conduct, they're going to find out that President Trump is absolutely 100% factual on this. Our taxpayers should not be funding climate fraud, and judges should never have relied upon it. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Okay, there you go. Pretty powerful. All right, pretty powerful. Now, the one thing to remember, right, about the speech on Thursday night. By the way, if I said Friday earlier, my mistake. 26-minute speech, which led us to drop 26, which is military is the only way, because one of the things that we found out in these documents is that it wasn't just these other nations that were involved, but it was these other nations' military that were involved. And if these other nations' military were involved in overthrowing the 2020 election, are we going to combat that with the FBI? Are we going to combat that with the DOJ? We're going to combat that with our combat forces, the military. Okay. And that is what I believe. And, maybe you've heard it elsewhere, but I haven't. That I believe that will be the door that opens up the ability for Trump to put military in control of our next election, the midterms. Okay? Because, the other stuff could take time. Save America Act could take time. It wouldn't, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen overnight. But if he puts military in charge of the elections, you can better believe that it's going to be tight. And all we really want is, I want my vote to count. And I don't want my vote to be like, I'm concerned with, friends of mine, if they're not going to vote for, somebody that I think we need to get into office, I'm like, shoot, that kind of cancels out my vote because they're going to vote the other way. Right. And so, it's important for us not only to know that our vote counts, but that our vote isn't watered down or isn't eradicated by fake votes, dead votes, just, repeated votes of people that don't want the country that I want. And so it really does take away our power as a voting citizen in this nation, to really get the people that we want into office. And what we're going to see with more and more diving into these documents, especially the unredacted ones, President Trump has already directed the FBI to look into the Michigan scandal, and we knew that Whitmer was corrupt way back in the day, right? And the documentation found that 278,000 non-citizens were found registered to vote in federal elections through a DHS review. That took your and my votes away. Okay. The Michigan voter registration fraud, FBI files detail a raid on a Democrat-linked group where canvassers admitted faking registrations for non-existent people and getting paid per form. And the Biden DOJ slow walked it. So it's not just those nations and their military that impacted our 2020 election, which I went to, DC to save the vote, save our country, that they turned into, made me some kind of a, a terrorist for even being there. I mean, in the eyes of anybody that I told I was there or found out I was there, I was persona non grata with I can't even tell you how many people because I was in Washington D.C. at the Capitol on that day at that time. I harm anybody? No. I made friends. I hugged people. I talked to people. I red pilled some people. Um, I was peaceful, but yet I'm grouped in with these ogres that they created, um, that were there for the same reasons I was. So it's not just their military and these countries that were interfering with our elections. I want to make something very clear. They could not have done it without people in very high places being a part of it. Okay. And and that is what is they're already firing people from these documents. All right. They're already getting people out of the government, right? Um, so and then the intelligence agencies knew this was going on. Mark Warner, right? He gave the keynote address when Barack Obama was being elected. This is somebody that I've met and spent time with, and he gave the keynote address at President Obama's uh, convention, right? And uh, hey, Space Shot 76, welcome to the show. Happy to have you here. Big fan of your work. Do some incredible work, folks. Space Shot 76. I'm honored that you're in the chat right now. Thank you so much. Um, so Mark Warner, he totally downplayed the election interference, and even said that the U.S. intelligence agencies agreed unanimously that China didn't try to change the votes in 2020, and that much of the voter data that China assessed access was publicly available anyway. Um, and so they're doubling down at a time when they've been found dead to rights. Okay, and so this whole thing with this speech on Thursday, the fallout from a 26-minute speech, my friends, is going to be, whew, it's going to be huge. And again, I think it will absolutely open the door for Trump to turn the elections over to the military simply because that China's military and Russia's military, Iran's military, have been found to be involved in this, and our intelligence agencies. And how many times has Q told us that what must take place for the military to overturn and be above the three-letter agencies? Um, well, that's treason, folks, and that's an opportunity that we've been waiting for. That we're finally seeing these things come to light. So really. Really exciting stuff happening, folks, and I hope you're feeling that. Like, I really hope that you've got that what's going on here. Oh, Chris George says, I've been listening to Space Shot longer than Dave. Awesome. And Chris, how long is that? Like, how long have you been listening to me, and how long have you been listening to Space Shot? Yeah, cool. A lot of people are stoked that you're here, brother. Very cool. Um, the he rated the stream. That's awesome. Yeah, we used to do raids back in the day. I got to get back. I got to get back to that. That used to be fun. We used to go into other live shows, and we just love bomb them. You know, drop a bunch of hearts and love bomb them and say great work and stuff. We got to get back to that. We got to get back to that. Very cool. So, Foxtrot, hello, happy to join in. Thank you. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, look at that. So this is really really exceptional. Now, President Trump, when, like I said, when he took us to that post, he also I want to take you to another one that he took us to. All right. And that was the 124, and that was the capital letter count for the following. Okay, so I want to take you down that path. Okay, so here we are. I've got two windows open, and I normally try to keep it to one, but I've jumped around here tonight. So let me make sure that this is up for you. And it is the capital letter count for the following truth post. Thank you to our guest speaker, Mike Johnson, the House Budget Chairman, Jody Arrington, the members of the House Budget Committee, including Lloyd Smucker, Ron Estes, Andrew Clyde, Josh Breachin, Aaron Hochin, Mike Carey, Blake Moore, Jay Obernolte, Tom McClintock, and many others for launching an effort to get as much of the Save America Act as possible into the budget bill. Okay, so if the rhinos, if Thune is not going to push forth the Save America Act, they are trying to get it in the budget bill because the Democrats need this budget, right? So they're going to have to vote for the budget. And as a result, it's going to be the Save America Act. And then he goes on to talk about, along with the aid to our incredible farmers and funding for our military, we need voter ID, identification, proof of citizenship, and hopefully no corrupt mail-in ballots, except for illness, disability, military, or travel. I am asking all House Republicans to vote yes this week on the budget resolution, which is an important first step towards getting a budget bill. House Republicans must unify and fight for the Save America Act. President Donald J. Trump. Now, okay. Now, obviously, right? A lot of things capitalized that shouldn't be capitalized. If President Trump, wrote this in the 7th grade, he would get it back with red mark, not a proper noun, shouldn't be capitalized. Don't capitalize a whole sentence here practically. Don't put an exclamation point in a parentheses, all this kind of stuff, right? So grammatically, it's horrible. Okay. But always feel like, certainly when we see these kind of caps, that we count the caps, and then we go to what these caps take us to, which is 124. Okay. Now, what's the significance of this? Well, you know that 3+ is Saudi Arabia, 2+ is Rothschild. Rothschilds, and 1+ is Soros, right? So what went down here is the Saudi Arabia was the absolute control over many in our government, right? Q talked about the purse strings being cut, the money to Hillary Clinton, the money to No Name, McCain, certainly Al-Walid funded Obama. Obama never would have been there had it not been for Al-Walid funding him all the way up through Harvard, HUMA, Harvard University Muslim alumni, et cetera, et cetera. So that was all Saudi Arabia. Of course, that was all before the purge, before Ali tried to assassinate bin Salman, and Trump saved his life, and Trump loaned Saudi Arabia our Marines and National Guard for the purge. And now Saudi Arabia is our ally and significant, and that's where I believe the supercomputer for Q is as well, because they, after the purge, they were to be trusted, and that's the what I believe to be the Alice in and Wonderland. The 2+ is the Rothschilds. Well, where does this fit in? Well, look what President Trump is doing to the banking structure. Okay. Look at what he's doing with no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. How much money has that taken out of the Federal Reserve? We know he rolled the Federal Reserve into the Treasury back in, was it May of 20 or 22? I'm forgetting right now, but and that was also verified recently when President Trump a couple months ago said, "How is, he works for you? How is Powell doing as chairman of the Fed?" Right, and the Federal Reserve never worked for the Treasury before. It's always been a private organization. So that was like a calm, like, yeah, they're under the Treasury now, right? And that's why President Trump is cleaning house in the Fed. That's why he's taken, what's her name, Cole, out of the picture for her fraud, because he brought Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac into the fold. So he has all that information. We have all that information. Q says we have it all, but certainly the information of the fraudulent loans that they applied for. All right. So President Trump, along, aside JFK and also Reagan, also Abraham Lincoln, the goal was to take out the Federal Reserve and to take out the central banking system. Nobody's come closer. Nobody's done more along those strides as Donald John Trump. And so the Rothschilds factor in heavily in making sure that Biden got in, not President Trump, right? And look what's happening. The crypto that's going to, deflate banking, the just destroying the central banks, basically, destroying the fiat currency, all the currency shifts that are happening with his gold coin, with his signature on the currency. That's not going to be fiat currency, folks. Okay, that's all coming, asset backed. And then the plus, George Soros, who's responsible for the migrant invasion of Europe. Okay, the Muslim migrant invasion of Europe, who's responsible for the invasion, the migrant and Muslim invasion of the United States of America. All Soros, all NGOs, all funded. He prides himself on taking down nations. He almost bankrupted the bank or England. And he's trying to control the United States as well. Who was money behind the voting machines, right? That were able to trip the votes. Soros, right? Who's behind Antifa and BLM and all this funding? Not only do we find China's involvement, but it was Soros as well. So what I believe President Trump did here was he took us to this truth, and about the Save America Act, and then took us to the reason why we need the Save America Act, right? This was the post, right? And this is everything that those final two sides of the triangle, Rothschilds and Soros, want to avoid at all costs, right? So very, very, very interesting. If let's see, if anybody joining us, Foxtrot, Space Shot, if you have any questions for me, I'd love to interact with you. I'm looking at the chat now, and let's see, and maybe do a show together. Um, let's see. Let's see. Maggie says, I listened to Space Shot for years and forget now that I'm here. Um, let's see. What else? Yeah, please hit the thumbs up, folks, and share out if you're called to. I'm not going to get through everything I wanted to tonight. Kind of went long on my intro monologue, but I felt that it was kind of really I felt it was really important to kind of touch on the significance of this moment in time. I really did. And so I wanted to talk about that. Whip and Spur, that would be a fantastic show. Thank you. Yeah, and I do want to start doing more shows with some others. It's kind of like, well, Space Shot's been legit for a very long time, but it's kind of like I've said this many times. It's like not really sure who is all in, right? And we've seen so many influencers that have fallen off, and now with Paulina Luna doing that Game of Thrones meme where she said that the influencers were going to find out who's the funding behind these influencers. So yeah, very cool. Let's see. Vicky says, Dave, when you get a chance to watch JMC broadcasting today, John Michael Chambers interviewed Lieutenant Colonel Bossy, Australia One. Very cool. Yeah, I like Bossy. So that could be really really good. And let me see. Yeah, please share out, my friends, and let me know. If you have any questions as well. And the okay. So there was another drop that I feel like I missed that I wanted to get to. The and you're saying Singham. Where does Neville Singham fit in? Foxtrot. Singham. I don't know much about Singham, but I know he's a big donor to black man, big donor to the left. When I see a guy like Singham, I kind of look at him, Foxtrot, like he's if Soros is the CEO, he's like one of the VPs in terms of like he's carrying out orders, if you will, right? That's kind of how I see those lower level people, and how they fit in. Like I still think that they are definitely having their strings pulled by the higher ups. But that's a great question. But a huge funder of all that is bad in this country, the BLM, what else? Antifa, certainly funding, congressmen, and, bringing forth and continuing to bring forth the excuse me, the socialism and eventual communism of our country. Um, let's see. Do a show with Space Shot. Thank you. That would be great. Um, Motor City Brent, great to see you. Great to see you. Jingle, Mark Atwood. Yeah, what do you guys think of Mark? I've always liked Mark when I've seen his work. Is he steady? Let's see. Foxtrot. Space Shot is definitely all in, but a show with you would be really informative. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I think it would be fantastic. Foxtrot, um, well, Sir Oliver, Sir Censorlot. He and I do a lot of shows together. And we do. It's been great. It's been great. Melissa Red Pill. Yep, she's in the queue. Yeah. So that was about Neville Singham. Um, oh, you're welcome, brother. You're welcome. Mark is good, Wendy. Cool. He's a Q guy. You're welcome. Yeah, very cool. Let's see. I tagged you a meme present on X today. Let me see if I can find that. In my oh, you tagged me. Okay. I the tags are sometimes tough for me to find because a lot of people tag me. Let me hold on. I got to turn that down. Let's see if I can find it. There we go. Mm, Man, I cannot. Yeah, it's hard for me to find the tags, unfortunately. Um, I'm scrolling through, trying to find it. Was that, by the way, that was on X, right? Was that on X that you did that? So let me. Here we go. I gotta figure that out. I am not familiar, Mary, with Mark Messina, Parallel 8 Media. Good to see you, Mary, by the way. Mary, how's your kitty cat? I think it had some health problems a while back. Um, and Yeah, sorry if I'm bringing up a sore subject, but yeah, new to the whole X thing. Yeah. Um, cool. All right. So, uh, Rumble keeps kicking me out again tonight. Guys, we've been having so many problems with Rumble kicking us out. If you can, either you could, certainly go on, if you're not on X, okay, you can go on Snedheads and you can watch the show live there. Okay. If you're having problems with Rumble, I know it doesn't have the chat that Rumble does, and that's a bummer. Especially Nancy, you love the chat. We love having you. But the and the other thing is X doesn't have it has a decent chat, but yeah. Um, and so yeah, so there's the live show on Snedheads if you ever want to just do that. It's free to join. We ask for a $17 donation to post and make comments and all that, but that's to support the platform. And but you can certainly watch for free on there. So yeah. So let me. Your pup. Oh, Mary, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. God love you and your pup. She passed. Terrible. Very sorry, Mary. Received her ashes back today. Oh, that's very sweet. I still have Barney's ashes, my dog of 17 and a half years. So yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that. Okay. Vicky says, Mark Messina, excellent 8-track. I love his Friday night huddle. Cool. Thank you. Deb says Brave browser runs the show on Rumble pretty seamlessly. I got to tell you, I'm using Brave more and more these days. So yeah, and if you haven't checked out snedheads.com, soon to become the Rubicon with a Q.com, please check it out. I think you'll really dig it, and it's free. It's we don't take your info. We don't spy on you. The whole bit. It's pretty awesome. But we're coming up on the two hours, and I think based on what's happening is I'm gonna definitely let's see. Da-da-da. Okay, Dina reached out, Dina Gildner, about calling in to the show, which I've asked her to do before. So, Dina, yes, would love to have you on. Why don't we connect for the next show? I'd love that. Yes, please. That would be an awesome conversation. So this is anybody? Oh, and by the way, this is the other post that I wanted to show you all, the other Q drop, and it had to do with President Trump's truth. And I think it was, let's see. I think the post was let's see. No, not that one. By the way, we have a new prime minister in the UK, Andy Burnham. Starmer is done. And he said in his speech, my work here is done. And I really do believe that Starmer was the Mandami of the UK. And because you couldn't be that bad as he was unless you truly tried. Ignoring the rape gangs, 250,000 victims, 250,000 of your own girls of your own country that were raped. Okay. Nothing was done. Okay. And he has a history going back as well of not following such things. The arresting the wrong people, arresting people for simply posting on social media about concerns about things. He is, I believe, the Mondani of New York, the Karen Bass of L.A., all these horrible leaders that we're looking at and saying, how were they even elected? How are they even in office? How are they even holding this office? Well, in a white hat script, they're doing their job. They're pushing people away from socialism and into and back into the folds of capitalism and just in general, goodness, common sense, right? I believe this was the the post about the World Cup, about the spectacular success of the World Cup, um, and which was quite exciting. I watched the World Cup for the first time in my life. I don't know about you, but I watched it for the first time in my life. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the camaraderie of watching with family, with friends, the spectacle of it all, and again, like I said at the beginning of the show, the athleticism of it all. So, so this is the post about the World Cup, right? And that took me to and let me double check. I don't want to I don't want to be wrong here, but I also want to make sure that it is the capital letter count that I did earlier. Let me see. Oh, I can do it this way, I think. I go back. No, that doesn't work. Okay. No, that was not the one. Okay. um, that was 66, by the way, capital letter count. Um, and I think it might have been, let me try this one. Um, and the World Cup, I'm definitely going to go to 66 too. So I'll do one more dive with you. Yeah, that's not the one. But I will tell you this: that President Trump took us to Q drop 45 and 54, and what was significant about this, in this, especially with the conversations we've been having tonight, is follow Huma. What just broke with Huma? What did HRC instruct Huma to do regarding classified markings? Why is this story just now coming out? What relevance does it have? Why is Donna running for cover? And I just mentioned this, I think, on when Sir Oliver was on two shows ago. Was a deal granted in exchange for something? Who made the deal? Do we care about Donna or those who instructed her to violate the law? Because we're talking about, not all will be prosecuted and so forth, because some of these people are being used to get at the higher ups. Why is this being leaked versus simply prosecuted privately? Who's attempting to change the narrative and soften the acts that are forthcoming this weekend? Well, this is taking us, Donna Brazil takes us directly to the election interference of the DNC and Seth Rich. Certainly it was Debbie Wasserman Schultz was the head of the DNC, but then they brought in Donna Brazil right after. Donna Brazil was the one that Hillary Clinton said we'd better fix this, because if this guy gets in, we'll all hang. And so very significant, because it's HRC, it's Donna, it's Huma, which brings up the Muslim Brotherhood infiltration into the Hillary Clinton campaign. The actual letter count was 54. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. I remember the truth. The truth was the Netanyahu. The truth was the Netanyahu post, okay, that I read earlier. We dropped that in the capital letter count, and we're going to get 54. I remember now. There's your 54, right? And it takes us to, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. What beautiful scripture, talking about hope and a future, given, everything that's going down. And then the mirror was this, which has been, again, with the reveal of the leader of Iran being a Mossad agent. It's directly linked to Israel and the Muslim Brotherhood, which Huma was a part of, her parents were a part of, and was the infiltration in Hillary Clinton's campaign, and Valerie Jarrett was the Muslim Brotherhood infiltration into Obama's campaign, and was the snake, as I've told you many times, because her father-in-law was partners with the writer of The Snake, Oscar Brown Jr., in 1963. They were partners in the Negro News Front. So very significant. And we were just at the drop earlier tonight, if you'll remember, that mentioned all of them. It mentioned Valerie Jarrett, the Alwan brothers, which we were also at because President Trump took us there on Thursday night with his 9/16 post, which took us to the Alwan brothers. So it's what we're finding here, folks, is that Israel and Netanyahu are directly tied in with the Muslim Brotherhood as the controlled opposition, if you will, right? So, all right. So that I know I did some long shows with Oliver, but I only got 2 in, and so I want to keep it to 2 hours because I want to get 3 shows in this week. So very much, very happy. Let's see. Let's see. I just hold on. What's going on here? Let's Lion. Hi, Dave. Just found out over the weekend that we lost a big Snedeker fan and a high school pal of mine, 73 Pasadena Bulldogs. I forwarded her your show always. She will be missed. Lenora Higgins. She only trusted you and Santa Surfing. Please send her family and her pups a special prayer. Thanks, Belinda. Belinda, thank you for sharing that with me. God bless Lenora Higgins. Folks, please keep Lenora, her family, and her pups in your prayers tonight. God bless you, Belinda. Thank you for just your trust and your follow and your support. And I'm humbled. I began the show tonight humbled. Plug. Humbled. And I know that Zelle is not working. So for those of you who just do Zelle, hopefully I'll have that up and running by the next show. And I just want to make sure that I give a shout out to Whip and Spur. Thank you very much for your $50 donation tonight. Thank you. And it looks like that is it. But thank you for that, Whip and Spur. Much appreciated. And folks, I saw Craig just was on his Oli Life for 12 minutes tonight. He just got it in the mail today. And he's like, this is next level already. Just 12 minutes on. Folks, I'm telling you, please go to Sned, PEMF. Check that out. And or give Nancy a call directly. I don't think let me see, Robin, David, you graduated from 7 shows a week that lasted between 5 and 8 hours every night to this. Congratulations, you're the best. Robin, thank you very much for that. Long time listener. And I love you. I feel like you're a sister to me. And I am so, again, just really blown away by the love, blown away by the opportunity I have to be here before you. And the only reason I'm a bit distracted is because I wanted to get Nancy's number for and just give her a call and ask her what it's all about, and you will be amazed at the testimonials that you'll see. And there it is. There's Nancy's phone number. She's on the West Coast in California, so please be respectful time wise, not before 8 a.m. on any day. And yes, and I am out of Zelle right now, so please do not send me Zelle until I let you know otherwise. Yeah, change your life, my friends. Change your frequency. That's what we're doing. We're changing our frequency. We're getting into a much better human frequency on this earth, and it's pretty exciting. And so, but from a standpoint of healing, put your body in the best frequency you possibly can, whether you hum, whether you walk through the woods, whether you lay down on the grass, whether you just drink incredible water. Connect with the fabulousness of this realm, because those kind of vibrations, those kind of frequencies really do put our body in an incredible place to just be more, optimal in healing, in performing, all of the above. All right, my friends, thanks for being here tonight. Much love to you all. And I will see you either tomorrow or Wednesday. Bear with me without any specifics, but life gets in the way. And but I'm going to definitely, I'm shooting for 3 shows this week because I've been doing 2 the past 2 weeks, maybe 3. So, but they were longer ones. They were much longer. So, all right. Much love. Good night, everybody. Be well.